I've been working in recruitment now for the last 7 to 8 months, and from my time doing interviews, these are the easiest ways that I have noticed that candidates just ruin interviews from the get go, right? First things first, be late, dress poorly, okay? If the interview is in person, you must be at the building at least 20 to 15 minutes before the interview, okay? I don't care where you come from, I don't care how far the commute is, how long the commute is. You need to be in that building at the very, very least 15 to 20 minutes prior to the interview. If you need to get to a station or a bus stop, no later than 30 sorry, no later than 30 minutes. You should be arriving at that point. So you have time to walk around the area, get to the building, commute to the building safely and on time, and just get in early and be well prepared. If your interview is online, ensure you are in that waiting room 2 to 3 minutes prior to the interview starting. Be early, be prepared. Don't ruin the recruiter slash hiring manager's time and schedule because of your inconveniences or your poor planning. Okay, so be on time and ensure that you have enough time to prepare yourself so you don't enter the interview flustered or rushed or anything like that either. Secondly is your dress code, okay? Dress like you're going in for a 9 to 5, all right? Button up, iron shirt, smell nice, gel your hair, do what you have to do. Wear appropriate shoes, wear appropriate socks. Everything needs to be detailed correctly and professionally, okay? If you're rocking up to an interview in industry clothes or like just another t-shirt or whatever else, it's not bad, but they're going to think that you don't care about it as much. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen, a top quality candidate, but a recruiter's thrown off to put them forward because they may not be fancy enough or they may not be, suitable for a particular top tier type of company because of the way they dressed. You don't want to give the recruiter anything to throw back at you, okay? Because you never know, if you're working through the recruiter particularly, you could be going for a role with a top tier national or global company that only accepts the best. And you could present as best as possible, you could talk as best as possible, you can have the best qualifications, everything, okay? You could be perfect. But if you're not dressing correctly and you're dressing a little bit, non-professionally, that's going to be enough for them to push you aside and take through another candidate, okay? So be wary of that. Dress well, be on time, okay? Secondly, answer the questions and don't talk about yourself too much, okay? So many times when I'm in a screening call or even in an interview, I'll ask a candidate a question and they don't answer that question. So they'll happily talk for about 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, okay? But nothing will be answered for what I need, okay? So you need to make sure and you need to practice this skill of when you're being asked questions, actually directly answering the question, okay? So when they ask you, why do you want this job? You tell them why you want this job. You don't give them a story about how you got to this moment. You just tell them, you say, I want this job because of A, B, and C, okay? Short to the point. You need to understand as well, people think in interviews, the more you talk, the better you look. Not true, okay? As a recruiter myself, if I ask you a question, and let's say you answer what I need to know in 45 seconds, cool. I can ask you to elaborate if I need to, but if I've got the core of my answer, that's enough. That's fine. Recruiters will ask you to detail your answer more if they need it, okay? So as long as you answer the core of the question, that's all you need to worry about, first of all, okay? If they ask you to elaborate after that, different story, do that, okay? But don't feel like you have to then talk for 5 or 6 minutes and have a podcast just to answer one question. They don't care, okay? And they don't care about things that are irrelevant to their answer. So if they ask you, something about, what type of customers do you deal with? Don't give them 10 stories about customers. Just answer what type of customers you deal with. That's it. And if they want to know more, they'll ask you. Remember, they're conducting the interview. Let them ask you the questions, okay? Anyways, the other point about this is if you talk about yourself too much, okay? So people need to understand the difference between talking about your value and talking about yourself, okay? So if I ask you a question about talking about a time, you had this scenario with a coworker or you had a fight with a coworker or something like that, tell me your role, okay? Tell me about what you did in that situation and how the situation improved because of you, okay? Don't talk about yourself. Don't be like, oh yeah, I'm such a great guy and I'm this and I'm that and everybody loves me and stuff like that. Don't do that. Talk about your value, not who you are. Okay? At the end of the day, when you're going in for a job interview, all we're doing is basically seeing, are you the right cultural fit for the position? Like, can you fit into the team? And secondly, can you do the job that is the core requirement of why we're hiring? Okay, that's all we care about. So every answer you have needs to be tackling it from that approach. Everything you say, you need to be thinking, oh, okay, am I showing that I add value here? Am I demonstrating that I'm the missing piece of the puzzle? Okay, you have to think about it like that. You talking about, your favorite hobbies or your social life or how much you like to go out or, how everybody in the office loves you and stuff like that. No one cares about that. That's not important to what, we need to know. Now, if they ask you, talk about your private life and stuff, or not your private life, but like ask what you like to do outside of work, different story. Answer that question directly. That's fine. But don't go talking about yourself too much and how great you are and things along these lines when you don't need to. Okay. The last part, you don't actually know what you want. And when you talk, you cut off the recruiter. Okay. So when you go into a job interview, even if you're not 100% sure on the role itself, at least act like you want the role. At least show why you want the role. Okay, it's very, very important from the very, very start, that first conversation, that they ask, why are we here today? What do you want? What are you looking for? You need to tell them how this specific role is going to help you get to your end goal, and what about this specific role stands out to you so much. You need to really show a desire for wanting this specific role. As soon as you start entering that field of, I'm open-minded, I'm trying to work things out, yeah, I'm just having a look around, stuff like that, straight away, done. Because recruiters will think if you get this job and the next shiny toy comes in 3 months' time, you're going to leave, you're going to move on, we're going to have to replace you for free. Okay? And then we get the bad reputation. Business gets angry because their process is still delayed. Everything messes up because you don't know what you want. Okay? So make sure you are very clear in what you want. Even if you are the best possible candidate, you answered every question correctly. If at the very, very start you weren't sure if this is the path you want to take in your career, we will still be reluctant to put you forward. Okay? So make sure you are clear, you are concise, and you are getting to the point, and you are ensuring that we understand that this is the job for you. Okay? And secondly, cutting off recruiters. Quick point on this. When the recruiters ask questions or the recruiters talk, let them talk. Okay? This is the best thing. You want a recruiter, because you got to understand as well, us as recruiters, we're humans just like you. Okay? We are people just like you. We have social lives just like you. Okay? We want to feel connected to you. All right? The easiest way I can see, the best way that I've seen candidates win over recruiters is when they actually let recruiters open up about their own lives. You unlock an element of warmness and trust that they then gain in you because you're letting them speak, you're inviting them to be who they are. As soon as you start cutting off recruiters, you enter like this whole like hostile, environment where it's like, oh, okay, he cut me off, he's sharp, he's defensive, there's a line drawn in the sand. You don't want that. You want to take a step back, and if the recruiter's talking about their life, or they're talking about their own experiences, let them go for a minute or two. Let them go. Let them ease into the situation as well. They're more likely to warm up to you as well. Okay? I hope you guys got some value from this video. If you guys enjoyed and you want to work with me on a one-to-one level, click the link below for a free consultation. Happy to have a 30-minute chat, and we can work out your goals and what you're after. I hope you guys got some value from this video, and you guys can take this going into your next interview. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.